Well, we've talked for about the last, probably maybe his last 4 or 5 starts, how fast he's matured. And you don't see that very often. You know, he came up here, obviously, with the big tag of the big arm, and probably not as much credit for his knowledge of how to pitch. You know, everybody saw the power arm in the minor leagues, just trying to throw it by guys. This guy knows what he's doing out there. He's got a feel for it. He's adjusted up here. He's made adjustments. He's made big pitches when he has to. I mean, even the last pitch in the 8th inning, you know, to Bryce Harper. Got to get the ball in, made a great pitch. And that's what he's done. And his confidence is, and what he's got to do is huge. And if he makes a mistake and he doesn't get upset by it, doesn't bother him, he just goes about his business. He's been really impressive.
Yeah, Adam. Could you just summarize the magnitude of sweeping the Nationals, the atmosphere here, and then moving into a first-place tie?
Adam, I got to tell you, this is my first experience with a New York crowd and what it's like here. And the energy they bring to the ballpark is unbelievable. I mean, I knew Noah in the 8th inning, you know, he's starting to run low on fuel, and here they are, they all rise and cheer every pitch. I mean, what they have done, and I'll tell you, if we continue this, they're going to help. They're going to help a great deal to keep this club energized through the next 2 months.
Just first place in the next week.
Well, we're excited. We know we got 50-something to go, and we got to play those guys 6 more times. But this is a huge weekend for us. We came in. We've been, you know, looking forward to coming out of the break. We knew we had to play them 6 times, and you know, we let one get away there. We let a game get away the other day here, but in the big scope of things, this was a great homestand with the way we finished it.
Yeah, sure.
Terry, I know it's just after the fact, but can you compare this homestand and what's gone on in it, the ups and downs, to anything you've been through?
Nothing I've been through, Jerry. Nothing I've been through. I have, you know, I've seen a lot of things and been a lot of places, but I've never experienced the emotional roller coaster that we went through this past 10 days here at home. And I salute the players for being able to deal with it. They didn't let it get to them. They just kept showing up and getting ready to play, and that's why they're responsible for, you know, the way things ended. And they certainly came out of a real tough loss the other day to San Diego, and with the Nationals coming in a huge series, and got refocused in a hurry. So it was great to see.
Yeah, Eddie.
Terry, you have to go through them to get where you want to go, and you also have to beat them here, which you haven't been able to do. So can you put in perspective what this sweep here means?
Well, it's huge, and you know, again, you know, we know all those things. We've talked about it. We don't talk about it with the players. I mean, they got to play. You know, we talk about it as a coaching staff about how we got to get them prepared and how we got to go about things, and that's why we looked into the break and right before the break and said, hey, we come out of the break, you know, we could set up our rotation so that these guys pitch it, and yeah, and I don't mean to disregard the St. Louis Cardinals or San Diego Padres. You know, John Neese has been pitching very well. Bart's been pitching good. But we thought those 3 guys had to pitch in these 6 games, and we come out of it, you know, in good shape.
Terry, did you get whiplash just snapping your neck back to right field 3 times in 5 pitches? And how can you describe that inning?
I can't. I mean, that was in the electricity in the ballpark going through that was, I mean, incredible. So it was enough we could ride it to the finish.
Yeah, Laura.
You know, a lot's been said about the offense you guys brought in, but the 3 guys that hit home runs are all people that you've had who've been established. What do you think is clicking for that part of the order right now?
Well, you know, you're going to go through some times where, you know, you just start swinging the bat really well. Certain guy, I mean, you get hot, and you're right. And right now, Grandy's been doing it. You know, Dan got a good pitch. Dan, this is one guy Dan can't wait to face. And Lucas is hot. So, you know, came up at the right time, and they got the pitches they needed. And so, I mean, it was pretty exciting to see it all.
Yeah, Richie.
You talked coming out of the All-Star break how you're playing all these first-place teams. 13 of your first 16 were against divisional leaders. In those 13 games, you're 7-6. Given everything that's kind of happened with this team, can you talk about it? Are you satisfied with that, Terry?
Well, it have to be, because that's what it is, Rich. I mean, you know, we wish we were 10-3 or 8-5 or whatever it is, but we're not. So what we have to do is we just got to keep climbing, and it's, you know, we got a long way to go, and guys are excited about the way the way the team is shaping up. We've got a lot of pieces that we've added that are going to definitely help. And, that we all know our pitching's been good. Our bullpen's starting to hopefully get back together, and it's going to be a fun 2 months. And I hope that, again, this just carries over into this road trip, because those are going to Florida. It's going to be, we're going to have a really early morning arrival, and we're going to have to get some energy tomorrow afternoon and get ready for tomorrow night.
A couple more here.
Back to Noah.
All right, Jay.
Yeah.
Anybody know CPR out here? Because if he goes down, I'm not involved.
For a lot of young pitchers, if they give up a home run like in a game like this to the second batter, that's kind of a signal that bad things are going to happen. Was there any concern with him at all that maybe he's going to get a little rattled there in the first?
We didn't know, and again, I think that's the first time that's happened to him up here. So now we've got to learn from him. We got to see how he does react to it. And as I said earlier in the press conference, he just seems to not let stuff get to him. He's got to go about his business, and he does, and he bounced back from that and then pitched great.
Over here.
Terry, to win this game, obviously a national televised game, and to do it with Noah Syndergaard on the mound, what kind of message does it send to the rest of baseball and to fans in general?
Well, it's out there about our pitching. Everybody's talking about it. Rick Sutcliffe is a great friend of mine, and he called me this afternoon and mentioned the point that also all he hears about is the Mets pitching, and he was anxious to see Syndergaard in person. And he told me, he made a joke. He said, the best job in baseball might be the pitching coach for the New York Mets right now, and that might be true. So it's we're thrilled by it, and that's part of the reason why we want to take care of them. And you look at the players we got, and that's a tribute to the organization that we have that kind of depth that we can trade 5 pitchers to get help here and still have some coming down the pike, and that's great. That's good to know.
Roger.
Terry, on any level, do you think that there's some cause and effect here between getting these new players in the trades and the enhanced production from the guys who were here before?
Yes, I do.
How does that work?
Just in the conversations, the general conversations you have with anybody in the last few days, they talk about the difference in the lineup now. They just talk, wow, our lineups, well, we got some sock in there now. And yet, obviously with Cespedes, he had the big piece, but there's nights that, Juan doesn't play or Kelly doesn't play, so it's the same guys. But all of a sudden, it's just a different frame of mind because those guys are here. And I just think it eases the pressure on certain other guys. Hey, look, you don't have to get it going. We've brought some people in to help out, and that lack of that extra pressure, I think, helps.
Yeah. 2 more towers.
Was there ever any doubt about letting Noah face Harper at the end of his outing? And what did he show you by how he handled that?
Tyler, again, leading up to that particular bat, if had there been somebody on, he might not have faced him. But in that particular situation, we said, yeah, he's going to, we're going to let him go after him. And that's what I'm saying. When you look at that at bat tonight, the at bat in Los Angeles against Puig, this kid has, even though it's deep in the game, we know he's tired, his pitch count's up, he's got the presence, he's got the poise, and he's got the, intestinal fortitude to say, hey, look, this is going to be the last 3 pitches I throw tonight. There's going to be something, there's going to be a purpose to him and some energy involved. Now, that last pitch to Bryce, guys came off the field just shaking their heads, said, man, that is really something to see. Murph just said, wow, that was nasty.
Last one, Freddie.
Terry, is there anything you say about Lucas that you haven't said already? The only thing tonight was like he hit 1 instead of 2.
Yeah, and you're going to walk in and you're going to ask him, and he's going to very quietly say, I'm just trying to help the team. Because that's the way he is, and that's all he's trying to do. But yet, I still think 4 days ago or 5 days ago, whenever Kelly and Juan showed up, he said, this is my job, I'm keeping it, and went about it. Didn't have to change his approach, he didn't have to change his stance or anything he does in his swing. He had to get his mindset to say, look, this is mine, and he did that.